3 years ago, I told my gynecologist that I wanted to get my tubes tied.
Prior to this, we talked about the firstborn daughter syndrome. If you haven't been able to watch that video, I'd request you to watch the video. The link's in the comment section for you to watch. And if it's your first time here, this is Comfort for Life, and I bring to you a compilation of TikTok videos for educational purposes. To my returning subscribers, I love and appreciate you. So this video as well was a suggestion by one of you. So I will also be happy to hear your suggestion in the comment section, and I will gladly attend. This video is a response of girls who are parentified at a very young age and had to carry a lot of responsibilities. So if you're a parent and you're wondering why is your child not wanting to give you a grandchild, they're being selfish, they're being whatever you're saying, lend me your ear. Let's listen to these girls first and the reasons why they don't want to have children before we get to judge them. I am not doing this video so that you stick in your decision, or I'm not doing it so that you change your decision, but I just want to let you know that every permanent solution that we take to a temporary situation can be reviewed. So if you listen to what is being said in this video and realize that you need help, I would request you to seek for therapy and not take a permanent solution, because your situation should not define you. So things can change.
Can you believe that there are mothers, fathers too, who look at their daughters and say, I don't want you to be a doctor who possibly cures cancer. I don't want you to be an astronaut. I don't want you to travel the world. I don't want you to have your own place, your own money. I want you to know how to cook and clean and have babies and cater to a man. Like, they're looking at their daughters and saying, I brought you into this world so that what you'll do for the rest of your life is clean dishes, fold clothes, get your cervix checked, breastfeed, and put a plate in front of a man. Like, there are parents that feel like that is all that their daughters are on this planet to do, is cater to a man.
Why don't you want to have kids? I've already had kids. They're called siblings. I already know what it's like to help someone with their homework. I already know what it's like to dress someone, put on their clothes in the morning. I already know what it's like to counsel and advice on where you're going to go to college, whether you should be in sports or not, how to navigate friendships, how to navigate breakups. I have siblings. I've already done all of these things. I've already had children. Why would I want to do that again just because they came from my own womb? Oh, well, you get to be there side by side when they go through some of the most important things in their lives. I already did with my brother and sister. I already did. Here are the important parts. When they transition from elementary to middle school, from middle school to high school, from high school to college, when they have their first girlfriend, when they get engaged, when they decide what college they're going to go to, when they have their first breakup, when they're starting to have sex. Been there already. I don't need to have my own kids to have these conversations. If you want to have kids because you want to have kids and you've always wanted to have kids, great. But if you're on the fence, or if you think that you want to have kids because everyone tells you that you're going to miss out on something, it's not that big of a deal. As an eldest daughter who has had pseudo children because they helped raise their siblings, it's not that big of a deal. Don't do it unless you will regret it every single day of your life, 100% of the time if you don't. I have a child-free life by choice, and every day it just reinforces that it's the best decision that I've ever made.
3 years ago, I told my gynecologist that I wanted to get my tubes tied. She took a look at me, she looked at her notepad, and she said, "Oh, okay, I see here that on record you have asked since you were 25 years old." And I said, "Yeah, I've been wanting this for a few years, and they told me that if by the time I was 30, I still wanted it, that I could get it done." She was like, "Okay, great. I will make an appointment with the surgeon so you can have your first consultation." And then right after, she turned around and she said, "If you don't mind me asking, do you mind telling me how you know for sure that you don't want to be a parent?" And I was surprised by the question, but I was like, "Yeah, sure, I'll tell you." And I started telling her all my reasons for not wanting kids. And she was just like intently listening. And at the end, she was like, "Wow, I wish I would have known all of the things that you just said before I had my kid, because I have one kid. I just recently had them. And my husband and I are going crazy." She's like, "If we knew everything that it took to raise another human being, we would definitely not do it again. We love our kid to death, but this is it for us." And I just laughed and I was like, "Yeah, well, I helped my mom raise my siblings because I was the eldest daughter. And due to life circumstances, I just had to fill in the role of being a third parent a lot. So I know what it's like to deal with babies, to take care of babies, not only babies, but toddlers and preteens and teens and all of that. And I don't want to go through that." She was like, "Wow, that's insane that you have like all that wisdom and knowledge at such a young age without ever actually going through it." And honestly, I know that I talk about all the trauma that being the eldest daughter, the eldest sister, has had on me. I know that the trauma has affected a lot of parts of my life. But honestly, there is a silver lining, a huge freaking silver lining, if you ask me, which is the fact that I got to experience parenthood in a way, and know that I never wanted to do that.
I am the oldest daughter and the child of immigrant parents from the Philippines. I have two younger brothers, and my father was also in the military, which when we were younger, he would go away on the ship for months on end. So when dad was gone, that meant that I had to step it up even more to help out my mom, because she was a full-time working nurse with 3 young kids, and I'm the only girl, two sons. So everything fell on me to help mom out when dad was gone, right? And then when dad came back, there was all kinds of things going on, and then he would, leave again for months on end. So here I am, stuck, taking on parental responsibilities when my dad was gone. One of my siblings is also special needs, so that was a factor in the caregiving as well. So like many oldest daughters, and with siblings, we didn't have a childhood. Our childhood was kind of stripped away from us, and we became parental figures like very young. In fact, you've probably seen this at family events, right? So for example, I'm 2 years old, and my younger brother next to me is like 2 years younger, and people would notice like, "Oh, look, Steph is taking such good care of her little brother. I'm 2. I'm still a child." And they're talking about me like I'm a parental figure. And in Asian families, it is not uncommon, in fact, I would say it's more the norm, that the oldest daughter automatically is assumed to take on responsibilities as the third parent, or the second parent if one of the parents, is not in the family for some reason. But it's just kind of assumed that we not only will take on that responsibility, but that we're happy to do it. I mean, nobody actually asks us if we want to take on this responsibility. That responsibility is just heaped on top of us. So as I got older, I was kind of ambivalent about having kids. And a big factor also too was who's going to be the father of these children. I wasn't going to have kids until I met, the person who would be the father of my children. And I didn't really meet anybody who fit that criteria. And then also going through and deciding whether or not to have kids, I reframed the question. So instead of asking myself, do I want to have kids or not? Because again, I was ambivalent in my answer. I reframed the question as, do I want the responsibility of being a parent? Do I want to take on the financial, emotional, mental, spiritual, and psychological responsibility that comes with being a parent? And quickly the answer was like, no, I do not. I also have had health issues of my own, which, are totally manageable. But having kids, or I should say, the responsibility of being a parent is enormous stress and anxiety and all kinds of feelings that come up, right? It's a lot. It's a lot to ask of somebody. And also, statistically knowing that, we as women have more than a 50% chance of being a single mother in the United States. And having help, right, is challenging because we also don't have services to help us with childcare and other things, right? So the idea also that I potentially would be a single parent with multiple children was also like, do I want that responsibility? And the answer was like, no. And now let's add in climate change and rising prices and all of this. And I did not want to work like 5 jobs to support having these children. And at the time too, when I was younger, I had this, really booming career in Silicon Valley. And I was traveling all over the country, all over the world. I was wining and dining customers. So I was staying at nice hotels and flying first class when I had enough points, and just I would live at large, and I had lots of disposable income, which was fun. And so at any time did the urge to have kids become greater than what I was doing? Again, the answer was no.
I am the oldest daughter on my mom's side. I feel like with that comes such a responsibility that I think sometimes we don't really think about. Growing up, I didn't have the best relationship with my mom, but I always had my little sister right there. And I always felt like I just wanted to do right by her. So I feel like when parents have like several kids and they're spaced out a bit, I feel like that last kid gets like raised completely different. And so in my case, when my little sister was like old enough, I guess, to fend for herself, I feel like my mom pretty much just like abandoned her emotionally. So I kind of had to step in for that. I remember taking on the responsibility of like making sure her prom stuff was situated, taking her to like get her prom dress, get her fitted for her prom dress, shoes, all the things that you would think like maybe a mom would want to do, but I was pretty much fulfilling that role for her. And I feel like at the time I didn't mind it, but like now that I'm like sitting back thinking about it, I feel like I was doing a bit much. I was still pretty young myself, essentially taking on such big roles, because my mom just kind of like just clocked out. Even like having certain like conversations about boys and sex and stuff like that. Like I felt like I kind of had to be that person for my sister because I just didn't want her to be out here green and like not know what the hell is going on. Like now that I'm like older and like my sister, she's doing her own thing, I think that kind of has had a little bit of an impact on me as far as like how I feel about like wanting kids and all of that. That's not to say that, obviously having your own, you can't have your own experience, but I kind of do feel like a little bit of that been there, done that kind of thing. Through lots of therapy, I've been able to forgive my mom for a lot of those things too. And through all the healing and everything, I can still sit here and say, I don't care to like have children, and that's okay. And as I mentioned before, like I don't feel like not having children makes me less of a woman. I'm just really enjoying my life right now, and maybe I'll get a dog or something. I'm just really glad that this platform has open up certain conversations, because I feel like for me, I felt a bit of shame feeling this way, but now like I'm just walking in my truth. And I'm hoping the more we talk about it, the less taboo it is to speak about wanting to be child free and being proud.
Anytime I hear a woman's talking about, if you want to have a child that loves you, have a son, I don't trust you hoes. Women who say things like, I don't know, I just want a boy, a daughter is too much work, don't trust you hoes. I don't understand how you could be a woman and think that raising something of the opposite sex is easier than raising a woman. You saying you don't want daughters, what that tells me is that you're going to be your mama. You're going to be one of them women bullying your daughter. You're going to be one of them jealous women. You don't want to have a daughter because you think that you're going to have to treat your daughter the way your mama treated you. You need therapy. And don't have no kids. Don't have no sons neither, because they be bums.
So in the previous clip, we've just heard an aspect that was left out of this conversation. Most of the time when we hear first daughter syndrome, you associate it to cultural belief and stuff to do with tradition. But you also think that there are mothers who got their daughters and they didn't want anything to do with girls, and then you had to go through them trying to process the facts that they have a daughter that they didn't want to. So I just want you to look at your mother right now. Don't look at the person who gave birth to you, because the person who gave birth to you did not want you at the first place. So I just want you to look at the person who brought you into this world. That's your creator. So reconnect with that person and seek for help.
I saw a TikTok that said if you don't heal from your eldest daughter trauma, you might regret it later in life when you heal and finally realize that maybe you wanted kids and that you wanted to be a mother, but then it's too late for you. So that video made me think twice about my life decisions because I'm an eldest daughter and I don't want to have kids because I feel like I've done it already. Like I was there when my brother was born and I took care of him for quite a long time and I love him so much, of course. And I'm not mad at my parents because I know that they did what they could at that time. But I feel like I'm done. I feel like I got the experience already. Why do I not want kids? Why don't I want to be a mother? Is it just the trauma? Or maybe I don't want to be responsible for someone. I don't want to be needed all the time. I don't want to send someone to school. I don't want to work very hard to pay for their school. I don't want to do their assignment. I don't want to be responsible to feed another person. I don't want to give birth. I don't want to put my body through that whole process because that's dangerous and people die from giving birth. What else don't I want to do? I want to be able to go on spontaneous trips. I don't have to think, oh no, who'll take care of my children? No, because I don't have any of that. So I can go whenever I want, literally just bringing myself and maybe my pets. And that kid is going to be with me for my whole life until I die. I don't want to be responsible for another person. So is it just trauma? Am I just not healed? Is that why I don't want kids? Is the goal of healing to want kids? That video really made me feel some type of way. I love kids and I would be happy to take care of my friends' kids or my siblings' kids. I would love to be the tita. I would spoil you guys. I would give you what you need, what you want. But I don't want to be your mom. I want to be your mother. I don't want to be your primary caregiver. I don't want to be responsible for another person's life. Whenever I think about whether I want children or not, I always go back to this quote that I read online that said, I'd rather regret not having children than regret having children. Here I am on a random morning questioning my whole life system and beliefs, all because of a TikTok that I saw. I don't think motherhood is for everyone, and that's okay. I don't think that's the goal in life. I don't think that the goal of healing is for you to want kids eventually. I don't think so. I think it's okay to not want kids. I think it's okay. I don't think there's anything wrong with me for not wanting my own kids. I don't even have a boyfriend. Why am I even crying about it? Well, because I'm 28 and my childbearing years are quickly passing by and I don't feel like I'm in some kind of rush. I don't want kids. I'd love to know your thoughts. Is it just trauma or is it totally okay to not want kids at all? And maybe that's it. Me healing, the end result is being at peace with not wanting kids. So yeah, let me know what you think.
The whole essence of this video is not leading you to have kids. As you've just heard it here, some people can feel attacked by this. It's not that the goal for this video. So either or not you want to have kids after therapy, it's your personal choice. But I just want you to seek for help. When you seek for help, you will have that internal healing that you need to remove that grudge that you're still holding against your mother. And probably your mother was doing what was best for her at that time, and based on how the society was viewed then, You know, we also have to understand that today's society is different from what it used to be. So, and there are mothers who haven't processed that to this point. Before, mothers were meant to stay home and take care of children and give birth, but right now we have mothers who are millionaires, mothers who are workers, mothers who do a lot of stuff, you know. That's why we have this 50-50, though it will never be 50-50, because the sacrifice of giving birth, I don't think it's kind of 100. Anyway, yeah, that's my point. The essence of this video isn't about you having kids, so seek for help. I will let you listen to the input of a therapist in this matter. Yeah, also don't hesitate to leave your thoughts in the comment section. To know relate with this, kindly let's have a conversation around
Here
this.
are 5 ways you can heal from eldest daughter syndrome. Number 1, be a detective about it, meaning that you need to learn about your experience and see how it's impacting you most. 2, set some personal goals. These need to be small things you can accomplish in a few days, up to a week. Things like taking an hour for yourself or finally making that doctor's appointment. Number 3, you can work on setting boundaries. Number 4, focus our energy on building and maintaining supportive relationships. And number 5, take some time to get to know yourself. Figure out what you really like and don't like.
As a therapist who works with millennial and Gen Z clients, many of my millennial clients are becoming parents. And this behavior pattern, this behavior dynamic of the overachieving, over anxious worrying that we've developed as being the eldest daughters is showing up in their parenting. It shows up in their relationships, and it gives them this caretaker status that they don't actually really want. And it creates a lot of resentment in relationships, and people feel very unfulfilled in their lives. This is you. I encourage you to think about behavior patterns that show up in your relationship that are keeping you unsatisfied. Think about how much you give to others, how you prioritize yourself, what your boundaries are, how often you say yes instead of saying no. Think about all of those things. It's important to recognize how you're showing up so you can actually break this generational cycle.
That was it about this video. I hope it was beneficial to you as it was for me. Thank you so much for your continued support. Don't hesitate to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Also leave your thoughts in the comment section. Subscription is free of charge. Kindly don't deny me that. Thank you so much for your love and support. Goodbye for now. Stay tuned for more. Appreciate you.